My friends, you know, I don't like threats. I don't like issuing threats. It's a bad thing to do. This is Howard Riell, Real Truth. The president sent a tweet addressed to Iranian President Rouhani, and it said in all caps the following, and I quote, "Never ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious," unquote. Folks, I don't like threats. I don't like making threats. I don't think the president should be making threats. I don't think he should be threatening violence against Iran. I believe he should be committing violence against Iran. I think he should have done that a long time ago. We can throw all the words and all the tweets and all the press releases we want in Iran. They have been cheating on their Iranian peace deal. They're still moving forward with their program. They've said openly they want to use it against Israel. They've said openly they would use it against us. They are a threat to world peace. The time has passed to threaten them. Now, granted, Donald Trump is speaking with a lot more authority and power and strength and decisiveness than any other president since Ronald Reagan. More than the weenies, father and son Bush and Bill Clinton and Barack Hussein Obama. He sounds like a real man. But it's time for action, not words. Take out Tehran. The Iranians wake up and find Tehran doesn't exist anymore. That is when they will stop their nuclear program. They won't stop it because of this tweet. They won't stop it because of the economic sanctions. That's not how the Muslim mind thinks. When Tehran is a smoking crater, then you'll have earned their respect. Then you will have gotten their attention. Then you will also, by the way, have sent a message to the rest of the Muslim world that says basically no. No. There will be no nuclear jihad. And before you even get close to the point where you might think of committing nuclear jihad, we will destroy you. That is how you keep peace on planet Earth in the age of nuclear terrorism. So while you give Donald Trump credit for threatening at least more than any other president's done since Reagan, it's time for action and not threats. It's Monday, and it's Real Truth. And we'll be right back.
Baby and medical whose employment was against her use abortion. Former abortion doctor Nathan said people do not understand that there are thousands of serious physical complications from abortion every year that abortion practically severe depression, stress, anxiety disorder, sleep disorder, suicide, violent behavior, sterility, increased risk of miscarriage, and liver complications of premature birth. International Journal of Epidemiology reports that abortion increases breast cancer risk by 90%. Every hopeless baby has the right to life. This giving message is brought to you by PLR Associates at Boulder, providing a job well done for your home or business with stucco, stone, and brick. Call PLR Associates at Boulder, 303-921-3310. PLR Medallion branded stucco protects the Boulder and over the Colorado area. Most people think they can't afford to invest in gold and silver. But at the Patriot Trading Group, we believe that everyone should have the opportunity to own hard assets. That's why we created our Preferred Metals program. You can get started for as little as $100 a month. Go to allamericangold.com and click on our Preferred Metals icon to learn how you can get started today. Or call us at 800-0 to the Patriot Trading Group, allamericangold.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to Real Truth. Howard Riell behind the microphone. You know I love Star Trek. I've talked about it before. Love Star Trek. I even liked Whoopi Goldberg as Guinan in Star Trek The Next Generation. But, of course, that was only a role. In real life, Whoopi Goldberg is an ignorant animal who shouts people down, treats people with no respect whatsoever. Did I mention she's a liberal? Okay. You heard about the big stink last week. The View invited Judge Jeanine Pirro on and then treated her like dirt. Whoopi especially was vile and disgusting. I mentioned that she's an ignorant animal, right? Here's Judge Jeanine Pirro back on her own show talking about what happened.
So to all you on the laptop threatening our president.
First of all, Whoopi does have Trump derangement syndrome, and what she does not have is a high IQ or any class whatsoever. No, Trump never said that. So right off the bat, Whoopi is an ignoramus. Here's what's interesting about liberals. I find this very interesting. When I have a discussion with someone, I'll make my points and I'll use logic and I'll use facts. Here's what liberals use. They talk loud! Because you see, they believe if they talk loud, it means they're right. That's called liberal logic. Listen to Whoopi Goldberg's voice boom now. She's a liar because that's exactly what she's doing. She's whipping up hate. Look at, if you go on YouTube and look at this video, look at the hate on her face. My God, she is an unthinking hate monger, but she doesn't like people who whip up hate. Do you get that? That's also liberal logic.
I've never seen anybody be so.
That's not what Whoopi suffers from. Because she's not that bright, she thinks that's what she suffers from. She suffers from a lack of intelligence and a closed-mindedness. Because if someone with minimal intelligence would really look at what Donald Trump has said, and more importantly, what he's done, the mouths would close. And they would say, oh, you mean he never said any racist things? You mean he's making America great again? Then what am I screaming about? But none of that matters to a liberal because they just want to scream.
One of the things that you talk about a lot, and I'm curious about it, is the deep state.
When the president whips up people to beat up other people, forgive me, Antifa doesn't work for the president. Antifa's on the left. When Ben Shapiro and Ann Coulter wanted to go speak at Berkeley, it was people on the left who were burning and destroying and threatening. So Whoopi, again, is a brainless moron.
After that,
All right, I don't like to correct Judge Shapiro, but I will. She's dealing with the symptom and not the cause. It's not hatred of Donald Trump. That's what everybody says, and that ain't it. It's hatred of America. Because Donald Trump is an old school guy. He represents traditional America and traditional Americans, and that's why liberals seethe. Like a spoiled child who resents his parents, hates his parents because he's been given everything. Idiots like Whoopi Goldberg have grown up in America, best standard of living on the planet, and they bite the hand that feeds them. It's not Donald Trump per se. Remember what they used to screech about George W. Bush. Remember what they used to say? They used to insult Ronald Reagan constantly. It's not the individual. It's not Trump. They hate America. They resent America. Well, the good news for Whoopi is that she gets a nice salary. She can afford an airline ticket. Let her get the hell out of here and live someplace else. Okay? If she despises America that much, let's wave Whoopi bye-bye. Have fun. Hasta luego. We'll be right back.
Women having heart attacks with experiencing nausea, vomiting, indigestion, the breath, or simply had to take the chest pain. Getting emergency medical help. Call 911 immediately. If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, pain, pressure, burning or twisting in the chest, jaw, shoulders, back, or arms that last from 5 to 6 minutes. Unexplained shortness of breath lasting from 5 to 6 minutes. Sudden severe nausea, vomiting, indigestion, sweating for no sudden unexplained extreme fatigue. Loss of consciousness or fainting, or sudden unexplained panicky feelings of doom. Extremity is the person to your body. Follow your instinct, and if you experience symptoms that are contributing to you in any way, or even remotely the pain to your heart, get yourself checked out. If your doctor pushes you off, that's advice to the doctor. One will act with symptoms to get to the bottom of your system.
For putting process has been provided for multiple systems in the period of 1992. Our system relies on funds to make you self-reliant for your proper needs. Solar energy can be scaled within any situation, from comfort, calm, or independence to back on top of the short term. Our expertise focuses on we have a close experience with use of the interactive system. Configure capabilities, emergency lighting, all the way to commercial saving power. Everybody's power, any full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design systems, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to redflamesolar.com.
All right, folks, welcome back. Howard Riell. Real Truth is the name of the show. By the way, next month, August, we'll be celebrating our 10-year anniversary here on KHNC. It's amazing, right? Who knew it would become a phenomenon? Anyway, here is Newt Gingrich talking to Sean Hannity.
Newt Gingrich on the New York Times.
See, here's what's happening. Donald Trump has been advising Germany to move its natural gas and oil business from Russia to America. That's what Trump wants. Doing so would basically destroy the Russian economy. So obviously, Trump is a puppet of Vladimir Putin. I mean, right? Isn't that obvious? He wants to destroy Putin's economy, so obviously he's working for Putin. That is the third reference I will make thus far in the show to liberal logic. An oxymoron, if ever there was one.
The real clear presentation of their economy.
My friends, we don't need to be lectured by Europe. Europe is a disaster area. They've stupidly thrown open their borders to immigrants from the Middle East, from Africa, third world immigrants. The countries are now burning. People are getting raped and killed because of that. They have minimized free speech to the point where if you say Muslims pose a threat, you will be arrested in England. They don't have the same free speech laws that we have. So they've got Big Brother operating. They're letting the sludge into the country. Sweden has become the rape capital of Europe. So if there's one source of wisdom I don't want advice from, it's the geniuses over in Europe who are basically committing suicide and want us to do the same.
They want to sell things to Iran. They're not going to take any real risk with Russia, because they're relying on the Russian ability to provide them with natural gas. And I think that President Trump is exactly right to stand up to Chancellor Merkel and point out the hypocrisy behind her pious statements.
Do you agree with me that the parallels to Reagan, for example, we're expecting protests here in London as the week unfolds, and maybe even after this match tonight, in the sense that people would be angry if Great Britain lost, if England lost. But I watch everything that's happening, and it reminds me, it's very reminiscent of Reagan, the evil empire, tear down this wall, the predictions that Reagan would start a nuclear holocaust, Donald Trump, fire and fury, little rocket man, my button's bigger than your button and mine works. And now telling NATO that they've got to start all of the alliance nations, and even the Secretary General of NATO agreeing with President Trump that these nations need to step up and that it can't be on the United States, and warning Germany of their dependence on energy with Putin. It seems to me that the parallels are uncanny.
Well, you know, Craig Shirley is the most authoritative biographer of Reagan. And I asked Craig exactly this, and he came back and said that that's exactly right, that the hostility in 1981-82 to Reagan in Europe, founded in part by the Soviet Union, which was the primary funder of the various peace groups, that hostility was probably greater than the hostility to Trump today. And I think it's easy to look back and forget that, but Reagan had encouraged them to persevere despite what was happening and despite the efforts on the other side. And I think that
my friends, one of the good things about being an old geezer, and I am, on July 1st I turned 60. One of the good things about being an old geezer is that you've got memory. You can go back and remember things other people may or may not read about. I remember the slurs and the slanders and the insults and the abuse heaped upon Ronald Reagan, who turned out to be one of our great presidents. I remember all the vitriol that was spat at George W. Bush. No matter what happened in the universe, if an asteroid hit Jupiter, it was George Bush's fault. And now the same thing is happening with Donald Trump, so let not yourself be fooled. Don't be fooled. If the left is screaming about Trump, he must have done something wrong. No, not correct. The left will scream anytime there's a president who's not from the left. They scream. It's what they do instead of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barack Obama was more for Europe than the United States. He was more for the Arab Middle East than he was for the United States. He was more for Africa than he was for the United States. He was more for the Democrat Party than he was for the United States. I've said this before on the show, my friends. I've said it before. I said it last week. I'll say it again. People say Obama did a terrible job. He didn't. He did a great job, but you've got to know what job he was doing. His job was to cripple America. And he did a very good job.
I mean, the Europeans were desperate for the Iranian deal because they want to sell goodies to Iran. This is not complicated. And Europeans like to sound pious while filling up their mouths. But I think we need to understand that there's a huge gap. The Germans are the worst, but frankly, there's a whole problem with the European Union and the folks who sit there in Brussels and run the bureaucracy. And you're seeing it start to be really under...
Yeah, the folks who sit there in Brussels and run the bureaucracy, those are the globalists who figured by now they'd probably be controlling the world. They would have brought America low. Our economy would be in tatters. Pessimism would be running wild. We would have been flooded with immigrants, and so there'd be crazy crime all over the place. And then this one world government that they have heated dreams about would snap into place, and we would be a subject nation. Didn't quite work out that way because of Donald Trump. That's why the people in Brussels don't like him.
Pressure from Poland, from Hungary,
It would weaken Putin. So obviously Donald Trump is a lackey of Putin, right? Liberal logic. It would strengthen our economy in so many ways. It would create so many jobs. And it would weaken Russia, but of course, Trump works for Russia, right?
You know, I think there may be enough pressure now, and it'll be very interesting to see Trump with Putin in Helsinki, because the whole question here of how this evolves, I think, is very real.
Now, my friends, of course, this was taped before Trump went to Helsinki, and we saw what happened. There were substantive things that were no doubt discussed. It was just an introduction. How do you do? First time Trump and Putin sat down alone together. But the leftist media managed to get a hold of one phrase that Donald Trump got wrong, and they started screaming, and they haven't stopped. Because screaming is not only what the left does best, it's just about the only thing they do at all.
And I think that Trump is feeling his way forward. And I think he thinks that the last administration so badly mishandled what we're doing in the world that every single day he's sort of breaking the old rules and trying to find ways to better represent the United States.
Look at all the fantastic things that Donald Trump has done so far, and he spent much of his time playing catch-up, trying to undo the disastrous things he inherited from the Obama administration. What if we had had a president for the past 8 years who was pro-America? What if instead of damaging America and pushing us backwards for 8 years, he had healed America and pushed us forward? Imagine the dizzying heights to which Donald Trump would have been able to bring us thus far. Instead, he's been patching the holes that were blown in the roof by the Obama administration. Because the left doesn't want America to win. This is the point I keep hammering away at. The Democrats don't want a strong, prosperous America. They want America weak, poor, and on its knees, because then they have more power. It's the ultimate irony that after Helsinki, the Democrats have been screaming, treason, treason, Donald Trump is a traitor. When in fact, it's the Democrats who are the treasonous ones. It's the Democrats who tried for 8 years, and more if you go back to Bill Clinton, to weaken and cripple America, who want everything that's bad for Americans, who want higher taxes, open borders. Those are the traitors. Democrats are the traitors, because they are intentionally, knowingly working against the best interest of the United States. John Kerry, disastrous as Secretary of State, a true asswipe, and the left loves him. Just like the left loves Hillary. Just like the left loves Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Barack Obama, the worst president in my lifetime. We'll be right back.
How many times have you gone into a health food store and are confused as to the many different brands and prices of the same purple foods? You want to buy the cheapest, but you're praising quality and class. So you buy the most expensive. Truth is, the cheapest may be better. Green herb herbal supplements are all manufactured in our Wheat Ridge, Colorado plant at 4565 Chicken Street using the highest quality herbs that we source from all over the world. Our 150 different herbal supplements are the most potent and safest in America. Our guarantee is your money back, no time limit. Just return the bottle empty or full, no questions asked. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name to get this help. Or call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372.
Ladies, this is Andy Gold. Warning is different than heart attacks in men. Women having heart attacks will experience nausea, vomiting, indigestion, shortness of breath.
This is an ad for Project
No chest pain. Get emergency medical help. And call 911 if you are experiencing any of these symptoms. Pain, pressure, burning or squeezing the chest, jaw, holding back the arms that last 5 to 6 minutes. Unexplained vomiting, indigestion, for no reason. Sudden unexplained extreme fatigue, loss of unexplained panicky feelings of instability. It's a process of your body. Follow your instincts, and if you experience symptoms that are disturbing you in any way, or even remotely related to your heart, get yourself checked out right away. If your doctor brushes you off, that's a sign you need to see a doctor. One who will actually do what the symptoms to get to the bottom of your symptoms.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessing of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution.
America can win defending incorporated breakdown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little one at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Women Defending Incorporated Breakdown. For residential or commercial women defending, call 303-263-4228.
All right, guys, welcome back to Real Truth. And if you want to laugh, I mean, you really want a good gut-level laugh, take a look at the collection of losers and clowns and buffoons that the Democrats are assembling to try and run against Donald Trump in 2020. It is truly something to inspire mirth. Here's Greg Gutfeld from Fox News talking about sending in the clowns. That's one way of saying it, Dana Perino. The left is becoming more progressive. I would phrase it somewhat differently, but more accurately. The left is getting more extreme. They're getting crazier. They're getting wilder. And yes, they're getting stupider.
Willing to fight, even if it's futile, right? For example.
Well, but here's the problem. The Democrats say they're going to fight to the death, and then they lose. They're still not dead. I thought if you fight to the death, at the end, you die. Tragically, the Democrat Party still exists.
Arguing with the spouse.
All right, folks, here's what I'm going to do. Because I love you, I'm going to skip Juan Williams because every word that comes out of his mouth is crap. My friends, listen, let's cut through the yah-yah, all right? I'm not on a big network. I don't have a big salary to defend, so I'm free to speak the truth. The Democrats can run a newborn, one that they haven't aborted. Talk about a fresh face, a new face. They could run a 1-hour-old baby, and it won't help because Democrat policies simply don't work. The economy works worse under Democrat policies. We are less safe under Democrat policies. Their policies don't work. They want to raise your taxes, and they want to drop the borders, let everybody on the planet into this country. Does that make sense to you? It doesn't, right?
So, like you said, they want someone that's
Yeah, the Democrats are having a civil war like rats bumping into each other trying to get off a sinking ship. They know that now America is on to them. They've still got college kids because college kids don't know anything. They've still got low information voters because low information voters don't know anything. They've still got Black Lives Matter. They still got Antifa. But this is a collection of losers and ignoramuses. Anyone with half a brain who wants America to be great, because that means their lives will be better and their children's lives will be better, realizes they can't vote Democrat anymore. And that's even before we see them foaming at the mouth, screeching, treason, Holocaust, Kristallnacht. The left is unhinged. What little intelligence they had has seeped out through the hole in their collective head, and America sees it. America gets it, and I'm predicting right now, I predicted it before, Donald Trump is going to win a commanding re-election in 2020. And if Americans are smart, I'm talking to you, Colorado. If Americans are smart, we won't vote Democrat anymore. We've learned our lesson. Right, guys? Nod your heads. I'm nodding my head, right? We've learned better than to vote for Democrats, right? Well, I certainly hope so. Let's take a break and we'll come back. The education continues right here on Real Truth.
chicken and children. And it looks at the body and children with different kind of body. If you don't need help, call the authorities. It's message from all the body flash through, celebrating decades of dedication and patience, both in that community. Call 352-1316 for the the dedicated death. The mind of children are our future. That's the future worth protecting.
The Patriot Trading Group is a different kind of gold and silver company, cleaning up the industry for 21 years. Are you tired of the high-pressure sales tactics, constant phone calls? Are you done with the bait and switch? You just want to be treated fairly with honesty and respect? That's exactly what you get when you call 800-951-0592. You got my word on it. I'm Joe Jakeman, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Check us out online at allamericangold.com.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever thought about having your own backyard chicken? Now you have a source for certified organic, no GMO, no soy chicken feed. HappyHens.biz can even deliver, or you can pick up. Call me, Tim, at 303-829-5948, or go to happyhens.biz for pricing and ingredients. At happyhens.biz, we love Happy Hens. Or call us at 303-829-5948.
The American Freedom Network is not funded or supported by special interest groups or government programs. The American Freedom Network is not sponsored by advertisers demanding content or programming control. The American Freedom Network is solely funded by you, the listener. You can keep the American Freedom Network on the air by purchasing one of our sponsored fine products or by calling 1-800-205-6245 to make a donation. The American Freedom Network needs your help.
My friends, welcome back to Real Truth. Item from the Free Beacon. Democrat National Committee Chair Tom Perez was quick to pronounce young Democrat socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez the future of his party following her surprising primary win in June. Since that time, she's offered pants-on-fire takes about the U.S. unemployment rate, supported and then immediately retracted that support for a two-state solution for Israel and the Palestinians, confessed to not being an expert on geopolitics after calling the Israeli military massacres, and fretted about black sites run by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and that's less than a month after winning. Well, it goes without saying that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is an empty vessel. She's a nitwit. She won because she's female and black, and we're in that community that she represents, that counts. Here is the Journal editorial report on Fox News talking about the collection of losers that the Democrats are putting together for the midterm elections. Let's listen. Dear, that's pretty stupid. As a politician representing Americans, what you stand for is what's good for Americans, not what's good for people from another country, especially people who are criminals and have broken our laws, Miss Cortez. My friends, I don't understand why the Democrats are going extreme left when they could follow their usual strategy of lying their asses off.
You know, Carl, look,
I once saw two dogs in the gutter doing something I won't describe. They had all those characteristics. I would hope the Democrats would want something more than that.
We're going to motivate people to vote.
Excuse me. Passion? No question. Absolutely. It was also driven by common sense and intelligence. Two things Democrats wouldn't recognize if they fell over it.
Republican.
You know, I have to tell you, I am grateful to the Democrats. Yes, you heard me right, my friends. Howard Riell is grateful to the Democrats because they might indeed have had a chance to gain ground in Congress this November, and they've pissed it away. How? Good question. By running to the left, becoming more extreme and more brainless in their policies, and by showing the world, honestly and openly, what disgusting animals they really are. By doing those two things, they have alienated so many voters. They have pushed themselves away from the finish line, and thank God they did.
Well, Carl, then what you do is you just notify them.
You invite Bill Clinton in, that way you lock up the child molester vote. It's also popular within the confines of mental institutions around the country. And thank God those people are under confinement. The Democrats couldn't be crazier, stupider if they tried. And believe me, they're trying. I don't worry about Democrats because they're losers. I worry about voters who believe Democrat lies, who believe what they hear on TV, who don't investigate, who don't read, don't do the research that's necessary to be a conscientious voter. Because if you do that, you will never vote Democrat again. Can you hear me, Colorado? We'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Earth.
Well, it had to happen. People thought the Green Earth was a dispensary. Although it was legalized on January 2014. The same day we opened our new location at 4565 Temperance Street, 1.5 blocks south of I-7. There are 83,000 cars a day passing the front of our new location at Temperance Street, and most of them fall through our marijuana prescription. So we changed the name of our retail store to New Genesis Health, but kept the name of our research supplement. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name, New Genesis Health. Call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372. And be sure to listen to the Healthy Nature Show with Linda Phillips every Tuesday at 1 p.m.
TLR focus on the computer. Your life begins with conception, so that the life of every entity wants baby and mother both lose with 1 and 3 with choose abortion. Former abortion Dr. Nathan says people do not understand that there are thousands of serious physical complications from abortion every year at this time. Abortion practice includes severe depression, anxiety disorder, sleep disorder, suicide, violent behavior, stability, increased risk of miscarriage and delivery complications. International Journal of Epidemiology reported abortion increased breast cancer risk by 90%. Every hopeless baby has the right to life, too. This life-giving message is brought to you by TLR Associates at Boulder, providing a job well done for your home or business. Doug Stone and River. Call TLR Associates at Boulder, 303-921-3310. TLR Medallion Brand Psycho Protection Service to Boulder and Northern Colorado area. Check.
Item from The Sun. Facebook has been slammed for censoring a feminist campaign group after it was accused of transphobia. Woman's Place UK campaigns for women-only spaces and raises concerns about transgender people being able to self-identify as women, unquote. So, my friends, I don't know if you're on Facebook or not. I am, but they don't appear to be too amenable to free speech. For example, I told you last week I was banned from posting things on Facebook for 24 hours for pointing out the simple fact that Palestinians are murderers and terrorists. So here's this group in the UK which is saying that transgender people are a concern, and Facebook is censoring them. Item from PJ Media. An Australian man who identifies as a transgender woman defended himself in court on Thursday, claiming he was either possessed by a demon or his mind was addled by drugs, and therefore it was his body, not him, who attacked people in the 7-Eleven with an axe last year. Now, my friends, that is an extraordinary paragraph, and I'm going to read it to you again because I want it to sink in. Okay, listen. An Australian man who identifies as a transgender woman defended himself in court on Thursday, claiming he was either possessed by a demon or his mind was addled by drugs. One or the other, either demon or drugs. And therefore, it wasn't him, it was only his body who started swinging an axe at people at a 7-Eleven convenience store. Now, my friends, I think this is an amazing story. I mean, normally transgender people are so mentally stable, so dependable, so solid. They're such nice folks. I mean, unless, of course, they get possessed or addled by drugs. And at least when they carry an axe into a convenience store. Yeah, but listen, transgender people, they're just like you and me, right? Don't you wake up sometimes in the morning and you realize you're possessed by a demon? Or you feel that your body is acting, but it's not you, it's just your body. Or maybe you've taken so many drugs it doesn't matter, right? Everybody can relate to this, right? But tell me, when you go to a 7-Eleven, do you leave your axe in the car, or do you take it in with you? Evie Amati, the 26-year-old suspect, does not deny being bodily present at the time, but claims his mind was somewhere else. Oh, his mind was somewhere else, all right. He allegedly attacked 2 people with an axe at a 7-Eleven January 7th. The suspect then reportedly swung the axe twice at the man outside, who managed to avoid the blows. Amati has pleaded not guilty to 6 charges, including 2 counts of wounding with intent to murder. His lawyer said at that stage, "Had you any idea the damage you'd done to the person by your body's action?" To which the defendant said no. So tell me, if this guy's not responsible for his actions, I mean, after all, it's just his body, it's not him. What if he molests your son or daughter? Does he get a pass? Because after all, it's not him, it's only his body. And yes, it's the body that he has carved up surgically and pumped hormones into before he addled it with drugs. Welcoming in, of course, all the demons. Yeah, they're normal folks. Guys just like you and me. No different. No different. Do me a favor. Next time you go to 7-Eleven, if you're really high on drugs, and especially if you've been possessed by a demon, leave the axe at home, okay? I'll be back tomorrow with more real truth. Hasta luego.